Hello. Good morning. This is Maria Peth from Maria's Angelic Enlightenment, connecting with you for our once a month free class. It is Sacred Circle is the name of the class. It's been Sacred Circle for about 4 years. I need to fix this so that I'm more centered. And it is a dream of mine to have more people connected to Angelic University, which is actually a virtual university where I can teach more for you, and you can learn without having to maybe travel to Waverly, Iowa. But anyways, this is Maria Peth, and I am Maria Peth of Maria's Angelic Enlightenment, coming to you live from Waverly, Iowa this morning. And we are going to be talking about energy healing, Reiki, and you. So it is not a class that will, get you certified to do the healing, but it can open you up to do healing, informational class. And also, some of you are already doing healing work and don't realize it, or some of you have already been through classes, Reiki perhaps, or other types of energy healing. And I am a Reiki master. Have been a Reiki master for, I think, close to 7 years. And I found that using Reiki, that the being involved with that energy work specifically really expanded my intuition. It helped me to amplify the energy that I was working with on a regular basis when I was doing readings. And then when I was doing readings in my office, I could send healing energy to the people in my office just because they're present, because it's something that is, loving and kind to do. And they walk out of here feeling more joyful, more calm. They have the benefit of the Reiki. Reiki is very, a very, very gentle energy, and it only goes to where a person needs, and it only works for, those that are actually, open to the love that is coming in that to them and where it's needed. So it's not any kind of, magic. Really, we're talking about the idea of energy work, which is premised in the title Ray. Really does have its meaning in life force energy. So ray is kind of like we think about the ray of sunshine, the ray of energy that can work through us. So the REI part of the word, simply means that, idea of like the ray of light, the ray of the sunshine. And I want to just make sure that I don't miss anything here. Life, yes, we already talked about life energy. Is one of the most important parts, and life energy is available for everybody. And life energy is available. Universal energy is available. God's love and light is available. Prayerful intention is available to anyone who connects with that vibration. So that's why I thought to put this class under the heading of energy healing, Reiki, healing, and you, because you are the most important factor here in any kind of healing work. You are the element that I guess we would say, that channels the energy of goodwill and of powerful love to the person that might need it, the animal that might need it, the plant that might need it, the situation that might need it, the condition that might need it. So you put your good intentions into that person, that situation, that condition, and that good intention naturally then begins to funnel for you energy to bring healing, because simply because you have established an intention. An intention is very similar to a prayer. An intention is very similar to a desire. An intention is similar to you focusing and and connecting. And when we have intention to love someone, to bring comfort to someone, something, some situation, usually the first order of being is that the intention comes up. Oh, I wish I could do something. Well, I say not wish. I say prayerfully intend for healing to surround that individual. So that's where we go into the energy healing. The idea of energy is your energy. You are the conduit. You are the source, not the source of the healing. You are the conduit, as we would say, of the healing, because your intention, your desire, is to bring comfort. So when you simply begin with that idea of I wish, I would love to make you feel better, what can I do? The first order is really that you had that desire. And that desire shifted just a little bit into a prayerful intention. The first order of connecting with any kind of universal energy, God's source, is to call out to God, call out to the healing angels. So energy healing goes under this umbrella of prayer and the idea of we say hands-on healing, the kind of work that Christ was so known for. And Christ always spoke about the idea of faith. The faith brought, your faith has healed you. And that is very similar for many of our powerful, thought leaders and teachers, that healing begins in the mind. Healing begins in your own consciousness. Healing begins at a level where you say, ouch, that hurts. I want to be healed. I have pain. What can I do differently? How can I modify this? And unfortunately, because we have, kind of modernized the way that we think about healing in the society of industry, we think that healing, is going to come from a little pill, or perhaps some kind of, pharmaceutical. And before we had pharmaceuticals, and again, we want to remember that pharmaceuticals are really something of the modern age. I mean, there's just really have been around, maybe a couple hundred years, where natural ceuticals, which, are plant-based and have been used from the beginning of time to bring healing and modalities of support of some kind of healing, have, again, thousands of years worked in many ways. Now, modern medicine, such as surgery and, some of the more practical techniques of today, like chiropractic and the physical therapy, these are really important modalities. These are very important for modern day healing. But does it go under the capital of energy healing, under this umbrella of energy healing? And modern science does have a part in energy healing, but I want to say energy healing begins with you. Energy healing begins with prayer. Energy healing begins with intention. Energy healing begins the moment you say, I wish I could do something for so-and-so. And yes, there are, meals you can cook, and you can go see them, and you can bring balloons, and you can offer cards, and we can bring these gifts, but nothing is more powerful than your prayer for them that says, I see you healed. I see you whole. I know that you desire this for yourself. And recently, I posted a little Instagram post that, and I'm gonna make sure that I say it right, the Instagram post, and so you can find me on Instagram under Angelic Maria 444. But it was a beautiful quote, actually, from Hippocrates, and it's, before you heal someone, ask him if he is willing to give up the things that made him sick. So we think about this ancient, philosopher, and the idea that something within each of us can make us sick. And it can be an emotion that gets stuck in our body due to trauma from the past. It can be a sabotage. It can be a space of feeling sorry for ourselves because someone did this and this and this to us, and then we hold that emotion, that energy, that sabotage in our body, and it begins to affect us on a physical level. But it starts first as an energy. It starts first as this idea that you have, that you are lacking, or that you are somehow not enough, or that the person or situation or condition, created this horrible, dichotomy, and now you are struggling because of this. Or maybe subconsciously you don't even realize that you're holding anger, in your body, but it manifests or comes out, every once in a while in different ways. And then over time, it actually is either an ache or a dis-ease. We think of, for women, and most of you on today, thank you for being on, are in fact women. And one of the places where we hold a lot of dis-ease is in our chest, in our beautiful breasts, because this is what a beautiful nurse called when my son Derek was getting his first little shots, the 6-week-old shots, and the nurse had big grandma pillows. She said, let me hold him. I've got big grandma pillows. And she held, Derek as, after he got his shot, and like gave him little pats on the back. And these are not just grandma pillows. They're pillows. And for some, the area that we nurture from, women are known for this. We nurture from our breasts, we nurture from our heart. This area is very sensitive to emotion. We hold emotion in our hearts and in our lungs and in our breast tissue. And that, again, emotion can cause dis-ease over time. And we don't even, make the association right away that we are, somehow we have this disease and we're at age, 50, and that it may have started when we were, age 25, and we were struggling by feeling nurtured ourselves, or being nurtured ourselves, and not taking care of ourselves, and just giving and giving and giving and giving and giving constantly, which is an important realization that we must balance, that we cannot give exhaustively, that we are supposed to, have the profundity to understand that we are needing our own nurturing. So healing does begin in the mind, and we have to remember to love ourselves, that we are whole and we are healed. So if I can backtrack just a moment, our topic for today is under this umbrella of energy healing, and we can call it God's healing, we can call it healing touch, we can call it prayerful healing, we can call it Reiki healing, we can call this really the intention of wanting to bring some balance into our lives and the lives of others. And that is very easy to do when we begin with the intention of prayer. So I'm going to begin with the intention of prayer here, and even though we've been going for 15 minutes, and back up for this session so that we have a baseline of prayer for today. So if you can hold your hands to your heart for a moment, and perhaps close your eyes and let's take a deep breath together and let out a sigh of release. This sigh is in fact very natural. This sigh is a way that we do release stress and that we come to a sense of nurturing for ourselves. So it's okay to breathe in deeply and sigh regularly. Beautiful Lord, holy angels, and Holy Spirit, great bringer of life and miracles, we ask that your light will surround us in this session, and we ask that your light will embrace each of the participants that are listening live now and those that will be listening later. We ask that they be blessed and surrounded with the healing energy of your love, of the universal idea and concept of everlasting love, that this love will bring peace to each individual and wherever they need it, and bring a direct beam of healing light to them, to a part of their body that may need it, to a part of their consciousness that may need it, the soul, to a part of their emotional energy field and the energy field around them. Support each individual, Lord. Support each individual, beautiful, beautiful angels. We ask for the power of the Archangel Raphael to surround and support each person. The Archangel Raphael, whose specialization is healing energy, brings a beam of emerald green to each and every one of you, surrounding you with that beam of light, encouraging you to take better note and care of yourself, to make adjustments where imbalance has formed, and to begin to correct those imbalances for the purpose of being whole and complete and balanced, one little step at a time. But we ask for the miracle of the Christ, Jesus, who has the miracle of healing today and always, and beams and works through the consciousness of each of us. The example of that beautiful man who walked the earth thousands of years ago, the example that he brought of touching one another, of bringing our hands to another in a warm and healing and loving and kind way. We ask, Lord, that we are imbued with that light, that the healing works through us and for us and with us, so that we might support ourselves and others. This powerful intention of healing, this life force that we have harnessed within our soul, will that please be amplified now for each of those that have chosen to answer your call, to be present, to be in this space at this time as a light worker, as a universal soul, as a galactic being of light, of knowledge, and of love, bringing more love to the planet, healing our friends, healing our families, healing ourselves. In your name, Lord, we are ever grateful, and for this time together, we are eternally indebted to you. Amen. Now that, my beautiful friends, is a prayer, an intention, and a healing beam. So we can say that you can do the same. I used simply my heart to bring the words forth, and you can do the same with your heart and with your intention. You can do the same by simply acknowledging that you have the love within you that can flow to others. Can you heal someone else? You can facilitate a healing that can amplify their own energy and bring comfort to them, and can bring a healing if they will receive the healing. Each individual is responsible for saying, yes, I receive that love. I receive that healing. I see that this is a possible opportunity for me. Can we heal cancer in a day? How long did it take for that cancer to build in your body? Probably years, sometimes undetected. Science tells us that we are fighting cancer cells and cancer abnormalities in our bodies quite regularly. And that an alkaline body, a state of alkalinity, it supports combating cancer. That a body that's healthy and vibrant combats those kinds of diseases. And that even inflammation and some of the autoimmune diseases that are more and more common these days have its beginnings in, again, some kind of off balance that has occurred in your body, in your psyche, and also in your mind. So you want to, heal the relationship, and you want to begin by forgiving whoever it was that, created such a dissonance in your psyche. And that healing is the first step. Forgiveness is a part of that step. We forgive our bodies for maybe taking on the disease, and we forgive the person, situation, condition that may have inadvertently caused the disease. And that, again, is the premise of intention. I intend to heal. I intend to bring love and healing to others. I intend to be whole and complete and vibrant and full of life. I intend to bring that joy and that loving energy to others. And with that prayer, with this prayer, Lord, bring them the healing. Bring them the healing that they are ready for. Bring them the healing that they have and wish and desire to have now happen for them. And sometimes, yes, there are kind of miracles that happen, overnight. And sometimes it takes more prayerful intention and more direct love and beaming that light from your heart to theirs. Energy healing is prayerful healing. Energy healing is intention. Energy healing is what all of us can do. And I have, we think about the first thing a mother does when a child has, a boo-boo is to kiss it, or to put your hand on it, or to give a little, rub or a little pat, or to say, they're there. We swoop up somebody that has been hurt or crying, and we give them this love. And we do this for our little ones very, very easily. It's a little harder to do this for a grown adult, but very possible. And we just have to sometimes ask permission. May I give you a hug? I feel like I want to extend a loving hug to you, and that is powerful. We run to rescue those that have been hurt. And let's learn to rescue ourselves, as I said first, with thoughtful, positive intentions on a regular basis, and forgiving your body for any dis-ease it might feel. It is absolutely wonderful that we have plant-based, neutral, and natural nutraceuticals now available to us. There are more and more practitioners that are looking at natural ways of bringing healing and not using chemicals. We do still need some chemicals, and because they are chemicals, they do sometimes offer a counter dis-ease in our system, and that's why we want to be careful with that. But there are, in fact, some pharmaceuticals that are very necessary. This is not about saying that modern medicine doesn't have its place. It certainly has its place. But in conjunction with all that we know today, we have come to understand that the psychology of healing is about the way we think about ourselves, and whether or not we are eating, feeling, acting, allowing goodness into our lives, or whether we are sabotaging ourselves. So energy healing means all energy. Do you live in a toxic situation with an individual who is themselves so far gone that they are constantly combating with you? That can bring disease. Or you can be the Mother Teresa in the relationship and take on the role of balancing that imbalance that they have. Nobody says you have to leave a toxic situation if you are strong enough to see that the situation has nothing to do with you, and that you don't give in to those kinds of angry outbursts or emotional imbalance or Debbie Downers or Donnie Downers or whatever we want to call them, but that you see your role as being amplified as healer in that situation. And that is powerful too. We learn from the challenges around us. We learn and we glean new abilities. We get stronger because of the challenges. But if it's hurting you, if it's making you sick, if it's killing you, we must make a change. I think very sadly about a young man who I counseled for quite some time by doing readings for him. He came to know me because his father had passed away, and he himself was in what he called a toxic job. His career was truly making him sick, and he mentioned it. He would say, it's killing me, but I don't know where else to go or what else to do or how to get out. My family needs this money. He had all these stories, all these ideas about my family needs the money and I can't leave this work and I have to, stay here. But every day I'm dying a little bit. And, it wasn't but 5 years of that, and he had a heart attack and passed away. So, and he was, I believe, 45, when he had that heart attack. But he knew it was there. He knew the culprit. He knew that what was happening, but he did not make the change because he feared that he wouldn't, in any other capacity, make money to sustain his family. But now his family is without him, and he had, 2 beautiful daughters. One was just starting high school, I believe, when he passed away, and the other was still in grade school. But and his wife, he left those 3, beautiful souls because he worked himself to death. And so many people do this. It's a story that we tell ourselves that we have to. It's a story that we say. We don't have to actually do or be anything. You are really supposed to take each moment at a time and embrace it. And the have to, do you have to go to the bathroom? Yes. This is, a little bit, different. Your bodily functions do need care. But the bathroom you go into, you can choose. And again, energy healing, we think about like in the mind and the choices. So when you're living in a situation, the way you think about it, the way you perceive the situation is part of whether you heal from it or flourish in it or die in it or from it. So let's, look at the situation again with that gentleman that passed away because his job basically was killing him. And then in fact, it was the result of how he died. Could he have changed his mind about the situation, about the way that, people worked in his environment around him, how he was valued or not valued. He could have changed his mind. He did not want to change his mind either. Changing his mind, what do you mean, Maria? He could have seen that perhaps some of the personalities in the room or in that space or in his work environment were there to teach him, that he was learning how to become a better human being by perhaps exhibiting a new level of capacity or a new level of compassion or a higher level of his own energy, his own vibration, his own sense of emotional state. So again, we go back to the emotional scale. Anything above the courage line is positive emotion that actually brings natural healing, endorphins to your energy field. And if you can sustain on an emotional scale above the courage level 51% of days and times, you are working in the energetic field of healing. You are working miracles. You are going to shift. You're going to help those around you shift, or those around you will turn tail and leave. They will exit. If you're the strong beam of light, they will exit eventually because they can't stand your positivity. They can't stand to be in that energy that is conflicting with their low, woe is me, let me, shame, depression, frustration, anger, jealousy. Those are low, energy, and hard to kind of stay in that space. So it's hard to kind of stay in that place. I say that because it's hard for me to go there and stay there because I feel so lifeless there. So, we say that the courage line says, I have the courage to think positively. I have the courage to accept a situation and look at it from a new point of view. So perhaps if that gentleman would have seen that he was a leader in that space, and that, if he was strong enough to courageously, go in there and beam with light every day, beam with light, be anything above the courage line, right? Willingness, acceptance, putting out a little bit of joy and happiness, a little bit of love out there. When you get a negativity, we don't take it in. We kind of, push that away and look at it from a different angle, a different perspective. We see, that we call on light, we call on angels, we call on God. We see that we are, this beaming energy of goodness. And then we just keep beaming our goodness and vibrating around and expanding that, so that becomes the contagious modality of the room, of the office, of the condition, of the organization, instead of it being toxic. And toxic can happen with just one crabby person. But boy, that one crabby person should not have that much power to, cut you off at the knees, or to begin to make a person sick, or to even be the reason why someone would be filled with dis-ease and die. So I know that I've talked to you about the emotional scale before, and I have a rough copy, and I don't know how this shows up when we put it up here, but I'm going to put that up close. See, that's an emotional scale. And I don't know if you can see that, if the words, but the lowest energy is shame. And then there's guilt. And I can't read backwards exactly, but I think this says, it's an A word. And then there's grief and fear, desire, and another word I can't read upside down, and then pride. These are a little lower vibrational energy, and the scale, they show that we get stuck down here and nothing happens. But when we get to the courage, this is where flow begins. Courage, or at least be neutral, willingness, acceptance, reason. love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. We feel good when we can reasonably discuss a situation with somebody, right? Some of you may have seen my beautiful son on TV, a Bachelor in Paradise, and he was seeking to have some kind of understanding with that little stinker, John, who, was kind of creating a dissonance and in the programming and the experience, and telling stories about Derek and accusing him of things and trying to manipulate, and Derek was trying to seek understanding, right? He was trying to reach some kind of reason. He wanted to be willing to discuss. He had the courage to confront what we would, consider to be, a great deal of anger that was coming at him. And he's trying to stay in that higher vibration. Is that something that he was taught? I have talked to him about the emotional scale. You bet. I've talked to him about like the idea of 51%. Staying above that energy of courage, 51% of the time, staying above that, because that is where health lives. That is where vibrancy lives. That is where goodness lives, and that is where flow happens and magic happens. That's why he's had so many good things happen in his life. But the other energy was really, really low and depressing and difficult to counterbalance. But I do think that that projected sense of willingness and courage was allowed and filtered out into the world, the viewers that were watching. Even though he himself eventually did get angry, it was still a courageous anger that said, you don't get to decide for someone else how they feel. You don't get to, make up stories about others. It was a courageous, kind of willingness and to, invoke or support the goodness for all. And so I have to say, yes, I'm very proud of that. But this is the same kind of idea and energy that you can infuse in any situation that you have. Even if it's a long time marriage and you think like it's going down, the drain, because one person is toxic and you're not there anymore. Why are you there? Are you there to learn? Are you there to persevere? Or are you there, to finally say, perhaps it is time to move on? Those are choices you have to make within your soul, within the consciousness of who you are. And those are best done in prayerful reflection, prayerful meditation, and mindful decision making for your highest good. Because sometimes a long-term relationship can also be toxic. If one person has changed so drastically, and or they have been completely, disassociated with you or disloyal, as we would say, then it makes it very difficult for a person, even of the highest integrity or the highest vibration, or with the highest sense of love and joy and peace themselves, to maintain a constant connection with a draining individual. So yes, people can make us sick. Situations can make us sick. They are, in fact, usually the reason why we are sick. That and environmental factors. So going back to energy, you, I believe, understand now that anyone can pray and bring the energy healing. I sometimes envision, like I did at the beginning prayer, the angels surrounding us, and I ask to pull in the positive vibration of love from the universe. It is important also to pull up from the earth that we are grounded and connected to the earth, and that those two forces come together right at the heart. I am grounded and connected to the earth and to love and to light and to the stability of this amazing planet. And I call in God's light and the energy of the universe, and that all that is good. And then it connects right here in the center of your heart, and that heart can beam out love and healing light. That heart can beam around you love and healing light. A beautiful friend that was on here earlier, I don't know if she's still on here. Her name is Donna. And I did see that she was listening before, but I'm not sure if she's still on. Anyways, she had cancer and healed herself. And yes, she used some conventional, measures as well to bring the healing, but she changed her diet. She changed the way that she thought. She changed a lot of her environment, and the healing, has happened, and she, feels vibrant. And I use that word a lot. I noticed vibrant, but that is a very positive word when I think about, looking at someone and seeing the life force in them, the vibrancy. But healing prayer was under the umbrella of all the healing modalities that she used, using, good food, good nutrition, good environment, good mindset, and the idea, too, of conventional medicine to marry those opportunities. So what about Reiki? I'm going to read a little bit here from the book that I teach from when I teach Reiki, and I don't do it really very often. But Reiki, this says Reiki, the Healing Touch. It's first and second degree manual. This is a teaching manual. And I do use, this because Reiki has a very distinguished set of symbols, and then from the practitioner, from the master, from the Reiki master, you receive an attunement. And this idea of like this attunement, amplifying your ability to bring more healing to others, is an important concept. I'm sorry, somebody's like doing some drilling out there on the street. You can hear that. I apologize, but this is real life. And it's a live class, right? So I want to just read a couple things about Reiki here. If you find that you're interested in learning Reiki, I am, interested in teaching, but I do have to have, enough to make the class worthwhile. And it is important, too, that Reiki is practiced daily. So Reiki is a special kind of ki, says this beautiful, book by William Lee Rand, and he does teach now internationally in a lot of places. It is ki, Ki, like life force, ki, that is guided by spiritual consciousness and is defined as spiritually guided life energy. This is a meaningful interpretation of the word Reiki. It more closely describes the experience most people have of it. Reiki guiding itself and its own wisdom, rather than requiring the direction of the practitioner. So one of the concepts that is very true to Reiki is Reiki goes where it's needed. We don't have to know exactly what the issue is or the problem is, but to have a Reiki session with the practitioner, it goes where it's needed, to the degree that it's needed. But regular sessions are important. And self-healing, which is what the first degree of Reiki teaches, is like self-healing, is very powerful, where you do, your own healing on yourself. And you do that to amplify the healing energy, to work with the energy. It's just like any kind of, class that you would take. You have to practice. You have to work with it. And the more you work with it, the better you get, and the more energy you can sustain. And being powerful simply means that you have become a reservoir for more energy, for the ability to channel more energy. And the more energy that you are familiar with, that you connect with, again, the better your voltage of energy, the better and more, like direction and guidance you can bring. And it's not just true for Reiki. I just wanted to say that definition to you. It is true for energy healing, because as you remember, the beginning sentences here said, guided by spiritual consciousness, and is defined as spiritually guided life energy. So Reiki is a specific kind of healing modality that is connected to energy healing under the umbrella of energy healing. But what we have come to understand is that each of us needs to be the conduit, and we have to expand the healing within us. So what if you don't want to take a Reiki course, but you want to do more energy healing? And you are already this conduit, you're already capable of channeling healing energy, then take your beautiful hands, put them on your heart, put them on your belly, put them on your shoulders, put them on your throat, put them on your body, your beautiful hands, and imagine that energy coming in from the God source, and imagine the energy of the earth coming forth, again, meeting at the heart center and working through you, beaming energy and light into your hands so that you have this coming in from above and below, and then really synergizing through your whole body. And you are becoming the current, you are learning how to increase your voltage, increase your current of energy so that you can take on more and more and more. And in that body, again, we sustain kind of an alkalinity that combats, dis-ease. But the self-healing needs to be a practice that you would do at least for 20 minutes a day. Better if you can do 50 minutes a day. Do you have 50 minutes to love on yourself? Sometimes we don't. So I say go to sleep with that intention. Say that prayer. Call in the healing energy. Call in the healing angels. Have the intention of healing coming from, again, the heavens, the universe, the light source, and be grounded and have the earth's grounding magnetic field supporting you. And then at the center of your core, you will be bound with that beautiful flow. And then the energy can work through your hands, through your heart, to work around you and build the field of healing light around you. Build the field of healing touch around you. It is that easy and also that important. And you must be diligent in the work. You must be diligent. Do you need to have a Reiki, certificate? No. You don't need it. Is it nice? Yes, we learn a little bit more. But what I absolutely know is that Jesus didn't have a Reiki certificate. Jesus touched on people. And he worked at building the energy, the life force within him on a regular basis by doing meditation. Jesus was and is a wonderful guide for such. Did the Buddhas, do they heal by, touch? They can. Do we know a lot about them in the West? No, but we know that they sit in meditation and send intentional healing to many others into parts of the world. In the same way that, like Gandhi brought healing to his country through example of meditation and reflection, and of course the resistance for lower energy of anger and violence, but through peace. One person can change the complexity of a nation. Most of us are not that powerful, but boy, if you work on calling in the healing energy on a regular basis, like I said, go to sleep doing this. You may not even realize it, but you have hours of sleep time, and you may be doing all kinds of good healing work, but you're building your ability to maintain and sustain a higher energy frequency. And you have to sustain a positive idea and positive mindset when you're doing that. And that positive mindset saves you. So we're coming to the end of our time together. We have about a minute or two left. I would usually, I stop the recording before I ask or open the forum for questions, but I found that some of the questions are nice for the, to be on the recording. So I'm going to go ahead for those that are on and let you know that we are, you can unmute yourself if you have a question. I don't have the little film up that says where you can raise your hand, but I want to invite you to, ask a question if you have that. So I'm going to unmute, Sheila and Lori and Dixie. You can go back and mute yourself immediately if you're like afraid of that. It's not letting me unmute Dixie. Maybe she's got that on there herself. Mary Braden. Kim is on the phone, and hold on one second. And Paula, unmute Paula, unmute Chris, unmute Jean's phone, unmute Peggy, unmute Tina, unmute Michelle. I'm so glad you're all here today. Oh my God, I love you so much. Unmute, I don't know this number. Okay, so if you've got a question, ask now. Well, let's try to be civil, one person at a time. And then everyone is quiet. So I'm assuming nobody has a question in regards to healing energy or healing light or healing in any way. So I see Michelle muted herself again. So we'll mute Tina again. No questions. If you don't have any questions, it's okay. I won't beat you up. Usually Mary's on here. She's got a question. And she's not on there today. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mute you guys again and just end with whatever it is that I need, whatever it is that angels guide me to say and do here. So the last, piece about the idea of energy healing really is kind of a fun little tool, right? A tool like a crystal. And recently I was a little bit sad when, someone said to me, my kids, think it's silly that, like I have crystals. Now, most of the time, little kids love them, but then the kids get a little older and they start to question, the logic. And I still like this idea. It's like, well, do you have a cell phone, sweetie pies? Because you're walking around with a crystal. And that crystal amplifies the ability for you to use the touch screen, for you to have a clear connection with the world, and also amplifies, as we would say, the energy of the phone. That's what every crystal does. I bought this little crystal crown. It's kind of fun. And, bought this little crystal crown at a recent expo because I just thought it was really pretty and kind of fun. And I have it around here right by my office because these are amethyst crystals, and amethysts are very well known for their ability to amplify healing. And again, this is a touchstone. So does, this little crystal do all the healing work? It amplifies energy of healing. It amplifies the ability for us to get more again, energy in our conduit system. So it is really super important that you realize that there are little tools that we use, to support us in everyday life, and specifically for healing work. Crystals have been, a really powerful tool in that. I love a clear quartz, and I'm going to show you one more. This is like the first small clear quartz that I purchased. I went around, actually asking about asking the crystals, if they wanted to help me. They wanted to go home with me. They wanted to, work with me. And this was, that first one, like over, 25 years ago, I think. And, it was the first one I had for maybe, 3 or 4 years. And I didn't really, do a lot with it, except for I did, hold the intention of it. You will help me. You will help to work with me to amplify my energy of goodwill, to amplify the teachings that I do and the people that need the light of the world in their soul. And that was an intention. It's a tool. I have, one or two rosaries with stones. So, my mom's got about 10 of them, and some of them with wood, and intention, right? A prayer circle of intention. Is it the rosary that does the healing? It is us, but we amplify it with, a bit of a touchstone. And this, beautiful crystal here, which is, the moonstone, is known to amplify, your intuitive ability. And I, wear it because it's beautiful. And do I have amplified intuitive ability? I think I do. But being able to host a crystal on my body is something that, we have to build up to. Sometimes when I buy a new crystal piece of jewelry, it may, keep me awake at night if I'm not used to the energy yet, until my body adjusts and the physical part of me ascends to that new level of vibration. And in closing, the new level of vibration, the idea of ascension is greater love. We ascend to greater love. We ascend up the emotional scale, right? I dropped that. We ascend up the emotional scale, which I've talked to you. I've talked to you about this emotional scale at my angel retreats. I've talked in my classes about it. I have shared, this in other classes like this with you. But very important to maintain a positive mindset, because healing begins in the mind. And again, that little post on Instagram that I had just this week, when you look at that, before you heal someone, and that includes yourself, before you heal, ask him if he is willing to give up the things that made him sick. So just want to end with that, because we have to let go of things and situations that make us sick, because that's the soul saying, this doesn't align with you. This isn't for your highest good. Please begin to align so that you can be healthy and whole and joyful. Take a deep breath with me and let's say a closing prayer. Beautiful Lord, I thank you for this time and for each individual that took their precious time to listen in today, to be a part of this class, to know and understand that we are all healers, especially those that are called to heal so easily and so naturally and so interestedly. We ask that you amplify our energy, guide us and support us as we continue to grow in this place of love and joy, in this becoming better conduits for you and for others and for our planet. May there be healing for Mother Earth on many levels. May those that were affected or are still affected by the current hurricane on the East Coast be safe. And again, bring healing if they have suffered damage like our beautiful Bahamas have. We ask, Lord, that there is healing for each of the students that started school this fall, and for their teachers and for the administrators that provide guidance and support for our growing population of light workers and star seeds that are coming up in this world. May the light of your light shine through all of us. May we remember that only love is real, and that each of us is a conduit for love and healing and light. Amen. All right. Beautiful, beautiful souls. Thank you for listening. I love you all. God bless you and keep you extremely safe and healthy and full of, what do we call that? Vim and vinegar? full of lights, really, in all that you do and are. Um, Announcements. Yes, I do have announcement. I'm going to end my recording though. Thank you for listening to Maria's Angelic Enlightenment. I'm coming to you next month on the first Wednesday of the month. I'm not sure what the date is, at 9 a.m. We will see you all then.